Nikita is renowned for his expertise in using email marketing to dramatically enhance e-commerce companies' profitability and their customer engagement as well.
Tons of things for people to work through in today's conversation to really enhance their email performance and therefore their conversion rate for their e-commerce business.
If you need a sign of how important it is to set up email can contribute anywhere between 25 to 35% of your total revenue.
If you're looking to refine and enhance your email strategies to add more profitability to your e-commerce business, then this episode is for you. Welcome to the Dropship Unlocked podcast. I'm Lewis Smith, the founder of Dropship Unlocked, and with me is our client success coach, James Erdley. Now, when we're not recording the podcast episodes, we're running our own e-commerce businesses and helping aspiring entrepreneurs launch their own high-ticket dropshipping businesses. Keen to build your own 6 or even 7-figure business? My book, The Home Turf Advantage, is your blueprint for launching a profitable online store. Grab your copy at htabook.com today and let's get you started. Now sit back, relax, and let's unlock your potential with the Dropship Unlocked podcast. Today, we're thrilled to welcome Nikita Vakhrushev to the podcast. Now, Nikita is renowned for his expertise in using email marketing to dramatically enhance e-commerce companies' profitability and their customer engagement as well. He shares insights that have helped brands scale from early stage solo entrepreneurs up to businesses generating some huge revenues.
Absolutely, Lewis. Another great conversation. And Nikita will be shedding light in this conversation on how you can use cutting edge email strategies that are essential for e-commerce businesses today. We delve into how effective email can not only drive more sales for your business, but also build lasting relationships with customers, ensuring they come back time and time again.
And there's plenty to look forward to in this episode. Nikita also discussed improving email deliverability, which is crucial to getting started, and he'll also provide actionable insights that you can implement straight away. So, whether you're just starting out at the moment with your e-commerce business, or if you're looking to refine and enhance your email strategies to add more profitability to your e-commerce business, then this episode is for you. So let's get into it.
So today we're excited to be joined by Nikita Vakhrushev, who is a master of email marketing strategies. We can talk to him today all about how we can improve our email for our e-commerce businesses. So Nikita, it's fantastic to have you with us today to dive deep into the art and science of email marketing.
James, I'm excited to go over anything new that we've been working on at Aspect, as well as, all different basics that we can cover that can help boost up your email revenue.
Fantastic. Awesome. So yeah, keen to get into your experience, and you mentioned Aspect there as well. So let me know, how did you get into it and what is Aspect that you've set up now?
Yeah, so Aspect is a fully email and SMS agency. We actually used to do everything like Google ads, Facebook ads, TikTok, UGC, email. Like we were like one of those growth agencies, and then we slowly over the last 3 years whittled down to just email marketing, mainly because we were able to just go deeper into that subject and provide better results for our clients. But I started off just similar to what you guys are doing with dropshipping, but I was doing print on demand way back when that was a big thing in like 2016 and 2017. That's where I learned the foundational skills for marketing, like doing Facebook ads, Google ads, and email marketing. And I was just able to grow on those skills and help out other people in my community and other people that I knew, and sort of level up my skills that way, be able to reinvest in the courses, and sort of grew my way from, I think 2017 was when I started, all the way up to now, running an agency with employees.
Awesome. I think having your own business, actually, that would have no doubt given you so much experience that you can now work on when you're working with your clients. No doubt, I imagine you can actually use a lot of those learnings into your interactions nowadays with the clients that you work with.
Yeah, it's kind of different when you have to spend your own money in order for things to work. So things have to work and you have to figure things out. So that's definitely translated over into being more conscious of, our clients' budgets, or what our clients revenues are or what their COGS are and that sort of thing.
Fantastic. So you decided to focus on email marketing. So for people listening that are just getting started selling products through Shopify with a dropshipping business model, and they're not quite sure how impactful email marketing can be, why did you decide that email marketing was so important for e-commerce and why you focused on it?
A lot of it came down to just being able to use first-party data. We started to make that transition almost not immediately after, but a couple months after iOS 14 happened. And I realized how much control you lose when something like that happens and you just lose tracking and lose data on customers that you thought you had. And that's where, as an agency, we pivoted a lot to helping on the email side for our clients. And that's where we learned we own this data. We have control over this data. We can, once we have someone's email or their phone number, we can reach out to them whenever we want. Obviously, you don't want to reach out to them every day, all the time, because that'll burn your email list. But you have that lever that you can pull at any time if you need revenue to come into the business. So it's just having more control, essentially.
Yeah, and that's huge for a business because compare that with Facebook ads, Google ads. Ultimately, the data that you don't own it yourself. You don't have your own list. So yeah, I guess that's a big part as to why email is so important. And for people that are unsure on what email marketing really entails, and perhaps they're really quite new to an e-commerce business, what is it all about, email marketing?
Yeah, so email is broken down into two big steps, or I guess two big categories. You have automations or flows, and then you have your campaigns. So automations and flows are essentially like automated emails that customers get whenever they sign up to your email list. Some of the basic flows that you might see in Klaviyo is like the welcome flow, abandoned cart flow, abandoned browse flow, post purchase, win back, and I think maybe like generate review. So those automation emails are there to help reduce any workload or any communication you might need to have with your customers on a scalable basis. So if you have, 1, 2, 3, 4 customers coming in a month, that's, you can manage those email communications yourself. But once you have 300 customers coming in per month, it's a lot easier when you have those automations handle all of that workload for you. On the campaign side, it's just a massive blast it's an email that's a mass blast to your audience. So whether you have 200 people on your email list or 2,000 or 200,000, you can send out that campaign to that many people in mass. So if you want to spread out a message about your sale or a promotion or a new product drop, that is where you do it through a campaign.
Fantastic. As there are two different types, and we can dive into how to get the best out of both types, I think would be useful in this episode. But for people that are just getting their head around working out how important it is, I guess they will recognize it by, if you've ever abandoned a cart yourself or ever been on a website and you did end up purchasing, you'll notice that you will, no doubt, if they've got decent email marketing from that business, you'll start to see those abandoned cart emails and they'll be pushing you back onto the website to finish your purchase. And so abandoned cart emails, Nikita, would you say that's probably the number one flow to get set up from the very start?
I would say between abandoned cart and welcome, those are like the two main important ones. And if you need a sign of how important it is to set up email can contribute anywhere between 25 to 35% of your total revenue. So, if you're making $100K a month, 25 to 35,000 of that could be coming in from email. So it's a pretty serious channel for generating revenue for your business. Now, when it comes down to it, I would say abandoned cart or welcome flow, like I mentioned, are the two biggest revenue drivers for us. And it's like, why is the welcome flow generating a lot of money? Well, because a lot of people, when they first land on your website, you might have a 10% off coupon code or a $100 off coupon code, whatever the offer is for getting those people to sign up. Once they sign up, they go through a series of anywhere between 5 to 12 emails for the welcome flow. And in between that time, they're more accustomed with your brand. They're nurtured within your brand and they learn more about your brand. So they're able to make a purchase within that flow. So sometimes people abandon cart, you can follow up with them, but during the welcome flow, you're building that trust and that relationship with that customer. So when they are ready to buy, or you're always following up with them so that they can buy.
Exactly. I think a lot of email is about being present in the customers' lives, in their inbox, so that when they are ready, if they aren't ready straight away, it's about being there. So we'll talk about those really important flows for people to get set up. And I'm glad you brought some numbers into it. like 25, 30, 35% of your revenue can come from email. Basically, it means that if you're not focusing some efforts on getting your email campaigns right as an e-commerce business owner, you're leaving a ton of revenue on the table if you're doing that. If you're running Google ads and you're not seeing the conversions that you want, then email can play a big part in improving your conversion rate. So that specifically the welcome series first, what are some of the best emails that you see actually perform well for an e-commerce business in a welcome series?
So specifically for, doing high ticket drop shipping or just anything high ticket in general, a lot of it comes down to use cases. So use cases, how to use the product, how the product is beneficial, any content around that specific product. So like, for example, like if we're selling saunas and we're drop shipping saunas, some key emails that we've seen work well in like those welcome series is like educational info. Like, for example, it's like 5, health routines that'll help you live longer, for example. Maybe that's too bold of a claim, but something similar to that end where, it's information like, oh, ice plunges, cold showers, using a sauna, which, you can get yours here if you want. Getting like morning sunlight, like those are all like informational topics that help educate the customer, build relationship with the customer, but at the same time, it also promotes or like parlays your product in a way where it doesn't feel like overly pitchy.
Yeah, and that's the key. I think something I did very wrong when I first started with my email marketing, I was too keen to try and sell through those welcome series. And the type of emails I was sending out was like, a bit too spammy now looking back. It was like, sale now on, or these are the discounts that we can provide to you. But straight away you go immediately to like use cases or educational or informational type of emails. Do you find that performs a lot better for you?
Although like obviously people love promotions, but when you're trying to educate the customer and not try to be overly salesy, that's where it works the best. So for example, if, you're running a promotion, yeah, sales work. But I mean, I guess like a good example would be, let's say you're going into a car dealership and you're checking out like a BMW, for example. And you're probably not going to like the salesperson that's always like, hey, let's go ahead. Like, you can't even test drive. You can't even look at the car. We need your credit report. We need this information. Like that gives you a bad taste in your mouth. The same thing in the welcome flow. It's like, hey, here's our brand, discount, discount, discount. You're not really providing any value for the customer. You're not, people will buy off a discount, but more people will buy when they have better information to make that buying decision, especially when it comes to high ticket.
Super important. Yeah, these high ticket purchases, they're not like going to be off the cuff kind of irrational purchases. People are often going to put some thought into before they spend like upwards of £1,000. So that's why I think this worked particularly well. Is I guess, I'm sure you work with low ticket and high ticket brands. Do you see that the educational, informational type of emails worked better specifically towards more high ticket products?
I mean, I've seen it work from products ranging all the way down to like $30 all the way up to $300. So it's just one of those things where when you give the customer more information, you're going to inform them about a buying decision that they've already been thinking about. Like, think of the last time you were trying to buy some expensive laptop or expensive pair of headphones. I'm sure you watched like 30 different YouTube review videos. And that's essentially what we're trying to do here. We're trying to spoon feed vital information about the product, overcoming these objections in a very creative way of like providing value in that content. So that way, when it comes to that buying decision, they know all the right information they need to have to make that buying decision.
Fantastic. So say we're quite new to a niche and perhaps we don't know that much about the industry that we are in and the products that we're actually selling. But we're going to make a project for us shortly after setting up our store to create this welcome series of emails. How would you suggest that we go about creating the content, and how would you go about suggesting sort of creating that educational content around our products if we're not experts at the time?
I would say we've done this a few times in the past where we haven't like had no idea what this product was. We would go through Reddit, Aura, forums, all of those like different, I guess, information aggregator websites to where we know the ideal customer is talking about these specific problems that they're having, or like these are specific product recommendations that they had for fixing that problem. And then, you can go a step deeper and go to those competitors or go to those recommendations and see exactly what they're selling. I'm not saying copy, but you can see exactly what they're selling, what their main benefits are, what their main hooks are. And if you want to go a step deeper into that, you can go to all their reviews and their testimonials. And what you can do then is you can take all of their testimonials, all of their reviews, post them into ChatGPT or any other AI software that you use, and have it spit out what are the common sentiments that these buyers are having when reviewing this product. And it'll spit out like, oh, they like the usability. They like how easy it was to set up. They didn't like the price, but they saw it was worth the value. Like those sort of things help build up content, information, and ideas in your head that you can then utilize for those value-based emails.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's fantastic tips there, actually, too. You don't have to be an expert in the products. And obviously, as an agency yourself, there's no way you could possibly be an expert in every product that you're selling. But there are methods and ways to learn enough about the products in order to do a great job with that welcome series. So just sticking on the topic of that first welcome series flow, I wonder if there's like an optimal amount of emails to have in that series, and also the amount of time between each of those emails.
Yeah, definitely. We try to do anywhere between 5 to 12 emails or 6 to 12 emails in that welcome flow. Depending on what the budget is for the client and how many emails they want to provide, we usually start off with 6 and then expand into 12. Typically, the way that they're timed is they go out every 4 to 5 days. So we try to do one a week for the most part. And when we send these out, we would have like the first email be either the discount code that they signed up for or the offer that they signed up for, a little bit about us. And then after that, the next 3 to 4 emails are value-based emails about the niche or about the product, testimonial highlights, objection handling, that sort of thing. After that, we do 1 to 2 sale emails or like exclusive promotions for new customers just to like bump that up. At that point, if the customer hasn't engaged with any of our emails, we then just exclude them from the list, because for the most part, if we're sending 6 more emails, probably not going to open them. That might hurt our deliverability. And if they haven't bought yet, they're going to keep receiving that following batch of 6 emails, which is, again, 4 of those being value-based emails about the founder, about the business, history of the business, and then 2 more promotional emails at the end to, finally drive that point home of like, hey, if you haven't made a decision at this point, like this is your last chance to get it at a discount.
Fantastic. So there's a nice balance there of information, especially the value at the start, and then the promotions toward the end, which I really like. I've recently implemented that into my stores as well, getting the value straight away, because you're kind of training the customers to realize that these emails are valuable and there is going to be value inside. So you're not training them to be switched off to your email for the next one. So then they'll open the next one. Okay. Yeah, fantastic. In terms of like the welcome series, obviously the goal will be to drive people back to the website. Do you have any sort of benchmark figures I'd be keen to have? Because people are always sort of asking around this in terms of like open rates and click-through rates that we should be aiming for roughly.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say the first email on the welcome series is the most important email, because that is where people are going to have the highest or you're going to have the highest open rate. So it's usually anywhere between like 70 to 90% open rates on that first email. Sometimes we've seen it as low as like 50%, but usually it's above 50% for the most part. Click-through rates are anywhere between 4 to 6%, and then we have like a placed order rate of anywhere between 5 to 10% on that first email. After that first email, the next 3 to 4, 5 emails, it all depends on like the type of hooks that you use in your subject line, or the type of content that you're providing in the niche. Some niches are very, people love reading information. Like for example, like with golf or golf clubs, you're sending out golf tips, those people are going to read those. So when it comes down to it, I would say those next 3 to 5 emails, they have anywhere between like a 50 to 60% open rate on average. And depending on how good the content is within the email, that's where we see the click-through rate or like the placed order rate vary between 1 to 4 to 5%.
But it just shows that, 1 to 5%, potentially 1 in every 20 people that you send that email to can place an order. It's a very high return on investment activity, That's the reason I love flows specifically, even more than campaigns, because it's like you set that email once and then it'll be sent thousands of times after that initial time you put the work in initially, and then you get the payoff for the long term. Now, something I want to dive into, and it's related to what we've been talking about there about getting the open rates as high as possible and the click-through rate. All of it is important, but only you're able to get to that stage if you've got the deliverability right in the first place. And I wanted to touch a little bit on email deliverability. So say a new client, a new e-commerce brand has come to your business, and you can tell that, you need to double check that their deliverability is right. Where would you be looking to make sure that they've got a good deliverability of their emails already?
Yeah, that is a really good question. One of the first things we do is, first, there's a deliverability tab in Klaviyo. If you click on any campaign that you sent out in the past and you click on the campaign, there's a tab at the top that you can click on deliverability, and you can see exactly the open rates per inbox. So with some of the clients that we've brought on that had deliverability issues, it's typically one inbox that's being a pain in the ass. So it's usually like Gmail or Yahoo or Apple Mail, where, you see like an open rate of 40 to 50% on everything else, but that one inbox. And that one inbox is usually like it's in the single digits sometimes, or sometimes it's like 11 to 12%, which is it's not normal to have that. That's where we identify like, okay, there is an issue with deliverability here. So we need to go ahead and start fixing this and start to re-warm up that specific inbox type. Now, before I get any like too woo-woo or too technical here, we'd also want to install a tracking software, and this is straight from Google. It's called Google Postmaster. So if you go to postmaster.google.com, you can then connect your domain or your sending domain. So if it's like Nike.com, you can connect that domain to track its deliverability. And there you can see whether your domain reputation is good, what your spam complaint rates are, whether your email authentication is set up correctly, and you can just monitor that on a rolling basis. So it updates every time you send out a campaign. That's going to help you track things as you start to improve your deliverability there.
Fantastic. That's a perfect place for people to start, to double check to see if there is an issue. And if you notice that there is a deliverability issue, what is the first thing you do to rectify that?
Yeah, absolutely. And to just keep it simple, you just want to send out, or you want to segment people out. So people that are already opening, let's say Gmail is having trouble in this example. You're having a very low Gmail deliverability. So all the people that are opening up your Gmails, you want to just include all those people and exclude all the people that use Gmail and don't open up your emails. Because if those people are receiving and opening them, that is just going to give Google a sign of like, okay, people are actually opening up emails from this domain that have a Gmail account. And then slowly over time, you want to expand that audience out to, let's say your email list is like 10,000 and only 1,000 people are opening up through Gmail. You want to just send out to those 1,000 people for the first, maybe 2-3 sends, then expand it out to like 1,500, then 2,500, then 3,000, then 4,500. And then slowly, as every time you send, slowly open up that pool of people, so long as your open rates are consistently high and your click-through rates are consistently high. And what I mean by high, it's like above 30%, I'd say is a good benchmark. If you're consistently opening up that audience pool and you haven't consistently over 30%, then you're in a good spot to keep on expanding that pool of audience.
Fantastic. And is there anything technical that we need to do initially with Klaviyo to make sure that we are set up correctly with the deliverability? Or is that all explained as part of the Klaviyo onboarding? Is there anything that you do separately, essentially, as an agency, if you can see that there is issues with deliverability?
Aside from doing Google Postmaster, there's really not much. I don't know if this is part of the new Klaviyo onboarding, but recently Google and Yahoo implemented new requirements for sending. So you have to have a DKIM authentication and DMARC authentication. Without getting super technical, these are just extra layers of security for Gmail and Yahoo to prevent any phishing or scam emails to go into your inbox. So these have become a requirement as of, I believe, 15 days ago since we're recording. So you have to have these installed. And I believe as you go through the Klaviyo onboarding, they will have you set up a dedicated sending domain and a DMARC record into your registrar, and that's where your domain is essentially hosted. So I think that's like an extra step that you have to do now, instead of 2 months ago you didn't really have to do this. So you get a little technical there.
Yeah, awesome. But 100% needed to touch on that just to make sure that in the first place, the emails can actually get to the desired inbox that we need them to get to. So then all of the things we can talk about afterwards are actually useful because, you're actually getting the email in the inbox in the first place. So we've touched a little bit on the flows into the welcome series. I think as well, I want to touch on the campaign. So these are like the one-off email blasts that we can send to our list that we will create and build over time. What type of emails do you try and send essentially with an e-commerce business, high ticket products? What type of emails through the campaigns would you be looking to send?
So yeah, when it comes to sending out campaigns, there is a pretty wide variety. You can get really, really creative with what kind of campaigns you can send out. Typically the go-tos that we utilize would be, testimonial campaigns or testimonial highlights. If someone had a fantastic experience with your product, you definitely want to send it out to future people that not only purchased your product before, because they might repurchase again, but also to people that are on the fence. Most of your list is going to be people that haven't bought, and the goal is to convert those people. So when those people see a testimonial, they're going to be like, oh, okay, that's just an extra positive affirmation that this product works, or this company has fulfilled, on the promise of having a good product. So that's a really good one. Obviously promotions and any sales that you might have, product launches. You can get really creative with it, like maybe specific days. There's always these, like, I want to say junk holidays, but like not really necessary holidays, like National Cookie Day or National Teeth Whitening Day, some BS like that. So you can use that to your advantage as an excuse to get into a person's inbox. Like, hey, it's National, Golfing Day, and we're having Golf Appreciation Day today. So you can go through our website, check out some golf clubs, that sort of thing. You can have a promotion there if you want, but it's not really necessary. Other campaigns that you can utilize is just, again, more info or more niche relevant content that could be useful for someone. So for example, if you're doing like barbecue grills, I know that's a common example here. Maybe like grilling tips for the summer. It's like summer's coming up. I know in the US, Memorial Day is going to be here in a few weeks. So maybe sending out like, hey, here's some Memorial Day recipes you can try out with your family for a cookout. All of those would go really, really well. And typically, if you have those information or emails go out, have a small call to action at the bottom, they perform a lot better than you think they would, or at least sometimes even better than the promotional ones.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? If you look at the calendar and look for all the different days that people have created celebrations around, I'm sure every week at least, so probably most days, there'll be a certain special day that you can commemorate with an email. And I know that a lot of emails that I receive, and certainly they're one of my best performing emails, they've always got a hook, or there's a reason why you sent the email. So just picking up on a day in the calendar as the hook or the reason why you've sent that email, or why there's a certain promotion that you can push, does perform really well for me. Also, I'm keen to get your thoughts on how many and how frequent you would suggest people spend their time when they're first getting started into actually setting up one-off email campaigns.
I would say if you're just starting out, 1 a week, that's about like 4 a month, is like a good sweet spot to just always stay top of mind. But if you're, growing and you have a bigger list, like 2 to 3 a week would be okay, 1 every other day. Once you get into the territory of sending out a campaign every day, that's when you want to utilize segmentation, and start to segment out audiences for specific products. If they bought product 1, but they haven't bought product 2, maybe you'd want to exclude all the people that bought product 2 and just send this email out to people that bought product 1 to upsell product 2. If that makes sense. So I guess just to summarize, 1 a week, 2 a week if you can. But once you start to get into daily, just start segmenting.
Perfect. That's fantastic. I think that's helpful to have that sort of understanding of how often, because when we're wearing all the hats and we're starting a new business initially, I think having 1 a week is a great amount to aim for. Knowing that the list size isn't going to be huge at that time, knowing that your time is going to be very valuable in all different areas of the business. But yeah, working your way out from there. Now, just to touch a little bit more on segmentation, when we do get to a stage where we've got a larger list and you want to really start pushing the emails, and maybe you get up to daily emails, what are the first sort of segments that you'll create within your Klaviyo account?
Yeah, the first few ones are honestly just engagement lists. So engaged in the last 15 days, in the last 30, 40, 60, 90, 120. I think those are the first few lists that we create. Then the buyers list, of course, so that way if we're sending out an exclusive promotion to new people, we'd want to exclude people that have already bought, because, you wouldn't want to get retargeted if you already bought something. After that, we may create segments based off of specific products or specific collections. So, for example, if we're selling different tiers of saunas or different golf clubs, we'd want to exclude people that bought the golf clubs that they've already bought. So that, or vice versa, we may want to include them and upsell them on a, I don't know how golf clubs work. I know there's like a 9-iron or a 6-iron. I could be talking gibberish here, but just cross-selling different golf clubs could be another thing that you could do there. And then lastly, some other segments that we would create is just suppression segments. So people that have marked us as spam, people that have bounced, people that never opened or never clicked your emails, all of those people you'd want to exclude from your sending. So that way your list is clean and you're not sending out to people that just aren't going to engage.
And that's important to make sure that your deliverability stays high. Is there a way to automate that to make sure that you're suppressing the right profiles automatically, or do you need to go in manually to make sure that you're removing those emails?
Yeah, it's automatically done. So once you create, so in Klaviyo, there's two options. You have a list and you have a segment. A list is a static list that you would have to manually update, but a segment is automatically updated based on specific conditions. So for example, you could create a segment for non-openers, non-clickers where, person hasn't opened email in last 180 days, or a person hasn't clicked email in last 180 days. And you will automatically get people added to that as, your business continues operating. So, yeah.
Perfect. I think we like the sound of that, because obviously we want to build businesses that are lifestyle businesses that we're not going to be completely tied to. So yeah, setting up segments that's going to allow it to be automated is definitely going to be the way forward. So thank you, Nikita. There's been tons of things for people to work through in today's conversation to really enhance their email performance and therefore their conversion rate for their e-commerce business. If people wanted to learn more from you or work with you, where would they go? Where would you direct people to work with you further?
Yeah, just go to our website, aspectagency.com. That's ASPEKT agency.com. And if you're already running email marketing right now and you're not sure if you're getting the right results, we do have an audit that we usually charge $500 to $1,000, but as a special bonus for everyone on the Dropship Unlocked podcast. So if you just put in where you came from as Dropship Unlocked, we can waive that fee and give you a free audit.
Amazing. That's huge. That's fantastic. So I'm sure there'll be lots of e-commerce business owners that want to take you up and get ahead of their competition by getting an audit on the emails that they're sending. So I'm sure people will take you up on that. We'll make sure there's a link high up in the description beneath this video in the show notes of the podcast. So be sure to check that out. Thanks again, Nikita, for joining us today.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. Looking forward to the next one.
That was a truly insightful session that we had there with Nikita Vakhrushev. It's clear that mastering email marketing is more crucial than ever for e-commerce businesses, given its direct impact on customer retention and overall revenue growth.
Absolutely, James. Yeah, what stood out to me, I think, was Nikita's emphasis on email segmentation and personalized messaging as well. So key for businesses if you're not doing that already and you're just sending blanket emails to everybody. Implementing stuff like that can transform how your business engages with your customers, and it makes sure that every single communication can feel unique and purpose written just for them.
And the best part of all the tips that Nikita shared is that they are accessible straight away. If you have Shopify and a Klaviyo account, we can make these concepts into our businesses straight away and reap the rewards. So it's clear. I think Nikita has a real skill of simplifying those complex concepts, making them practical for business owners of all sizes. So it's more than just creating better emails to drive more transactions. What he really got across is about how important email is for fostering relationships with customers.
Yes, exactly. He got that across very, very clearly. And this is your chance to take these proven strategies and integrate them into your business model. Now, for a deeper dive into implementing these techniques and to enhance your understanding, head over to htabook.com. Combine Nikita's tactics with the comprehensive framework inside my book, The Home Turf Advantage. You'll be well on your way to optimizing your e-commerce business for success. So don't miss out on this opportunity to transform your email marketing strategy and achieve remarkable growth in your business.
Enjoying the podcast? We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment or a review, and we might just feature it on an upcoming episode. Also, for detailed show notes and resources, head to dropshipunlocked.com/podcast.
If you found value from any episode of this podcast, please take just 10 seconds to leave us a quick 5-star review on your podcast app of choice. It helps us more than you could imagine, and who knows, you might just hear your comments on the show. Thanks for being part of our community. Your support helps us keep delivering a new episode every week.
Now it's time to answer a question that we've had in from one of you. Remember, if you want your questions answered on the podcast, all you need to do is leave a comment beneath the YouTube video version of an episode. And that's exactly what @Tweener1 has done. And they have asked, how can I use an address for my limited company that is not my own personal address?
Thanks for your question, Tweener. That's a really easy one for us to answer. So hopefully this can help you on your way with your business. Now, in the first week of the Dropship Unlocked Masterclass, I provide a detailed step-by-step guide on how to register your business. But if you'd prefer not to use your home address, then formation agents are definitely a reliable alternative. This segment of the masterclass directs you on how to connect with reputable agents. And there is actually one that we've partnered with that you can use. If you go to dropshipunlocked.com/company, and we'll put the link to that below in the show notes, you can have your limited company registered by them for £9.99 is the offer at the moment, instead of the usual £50 if you were to do it directly. So that's definitely where I'd start. The link to that is in the description below, and you can have a registered business address with them up and running, not having to use your home personal address, and be up and running by later today.
Fantastic. Thank you, Lewis. We're now going to highlight a recent review that we've had in from a listener or one of you for the podcast as well. And a big thank you to Dave Fry for the YouTube comment. So Dave Fry said, "Thank you, Lewis and James, for another very helpful episode in the Dropship Unlocked series. With so many people on YouTube promising unachievable earnings and lifestyles for no effort, the realism and honesty is a refreshing alternative. Thank you both for the training you provide and the insightful series of videos. They're really helpful."
Thank you so much for the review as well, Dave. We really appreciate you, and just glad to hear that you've been getting value from the content that we go through in the podcast. Before we go, I just have one quick question for you that I'd appreciate your help with if you're listening to us right now. Have you left us a review yet? If not, please do leave us a review. Wherever you're listening to us, it should take you about 10 seconds of your time, but it does wonders for us, and it's a big part of what drives us to continue with this podcast. So if you'd like us to continue releasing podcast episodes like this, and you haven't left us a review yet, please just take a quick moment to do so now, and hopefully we can read it out for you too on the next episode.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Dropship Unlocked podcast. We hope you're walking away with insights and inspiration.
To kickstart your e-commerce journey, grab a copy of my book, The Home Turf Advantage, at htabook.com. It's a distilled guide based on real experience to help you build your e-commerce venture.
Don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more strategies and success stories. And if you like what you heard, a 5-star review would mean the world to us, and you might just get a shout out on an upcoming episode.
And finally, thank you for deciding to spend your time with us today. We can't wait to bring you more insights on the next episode of the Dropship Unlocked podcast.